All right. It's a good thing it didn't take forever to take the thumbnail. All right, so we're going to live dangerously and pull the camera closer. Howdy. All right, we're going to let everybody filter in kind of like usual here. Well, that was fast. Pitch black or fast pitch? Yes. I got ignored by my wife for Christmas. Well, depending on your wife, that could be a good thing. Actually, I need to. Okay. Is this better? Make me look more like a leprechaun or less like a leprechaun? I don't know. I don't know. All right. So when you go live on Facebook, YouTube, or probably Facebook too, I don't know. When you go live on YouTube, it asks you if you want to take a thumbnail or if you have one to upload, and then it takes the picture at like, and this thing just does not stare straight. I haven't figured out this webcam because it looks like I'm looking straight at it and it's looking off into the sunset somewhere. What's up, Bart? Yeah, in training for 40 years. I don't know what to talk about. But yeah, so it says smile for a thumbnail, and it counts down 3, 2, 1. Well, it takes the photo at like 2, and then when you're ready, when it shows the flash or takes the photo, well, then it reverts back like a second and a half before, so it never looks right. But remember the morphin time? Get it? I don't know. So what'd you get for Christmas? Yeah, unicorns. That's perfect. That's perfect. My brother, who was trolling on a stream, one of the coffee streams either last week or the week before, and all the super serious bowlers on here didn't get it. He said, you know what? I found you a perfect mug for your coffee streams. And so I have Black Rifle Beyond Black coffee, sans creamer. That means without creamer. For my coffee streams. So.
And hopefully you don't shoot your eye out.
Yeah, well, yeah, he said don't poke your eye out with the business end of the unicorn here, so. All right. So pitch black or fast pitch? That's tough. I find myself using the fast pitch more, but the pitch black, I took the fast pitch to a tournament the other day, which was probably a good thing I didn't take the pitch black, because I probably would have ended up using it and it probably would have worked well, and then I wouldn't have shot what I shot. So, you know, things work out. So I think both of them are necessary, and I think that you'll see both, like everybody. I think you'll see everybody, or should I? Nah, this is cooler. Oh, Meastles is up here. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I know.
Like,
I know.
She's trying to stay on her blanket. She's
Come
trying
here.
to do good.
Come here. Up here. There you go. Uh-huh. You're going to be on the YouTubes. I know. I know. Come here.
The dogs know they can only get up there if there's a blanket.
Yeah, they know that they can only get up on the blanket. So this is Mistletoe. You've seen her several times if you've watched the channel for any length of time. Yes, I know. This was our first rescue dog. Mm-hmm. So that's why we do the rescue dog stuff. We lost our little Sheltie Riley 3 or so years ago and got hooked up with a rescue in Kansas City, and this is measles. I know. High five. I know.
Doggy's got treats and new toys for Christmas.
Yeah. She got raw hamburger, which she goes ballistic over.
I do still have a little for tonight.
Yeah. You heard raw hamburger, didn't you, Yoda? Baby Yoda. What the? All right. Anyway, let's get back to seriousness, because we know that as bowlers, we always have to be serious 24/7. I know. It's a unicorn coffee mug. I know. Unicorn Zord. All right. So, yep. This is fantabulous, by the way.
Oh, look at you using my words.
All right. High Road Pearl and Pitch Black. That's pretty good. Got a PBR and a proof solid for Christmas. Cool. Proofs are pretty good from what I've seen. What would have a urethane motion but isn't urethane? Well, that would be the Pro Motion, which I got 2 more of for Christmas. I now own the majority of the Pro Motions in the world, by the way. Yeah. Probably nobody else likes them. Matt O'Grady likes them. But Matt's cool, so. All right. So yeah, the Pro Motion realistically, or one of Motive's microcell balls, but I didn't just say that. But the Pro Motion was kind of the primo urethane, but not urethane reaction as far as I'm concerned. And now that spec is not in the catalog at the moment, hopefully it makes a resurrection. Hopefully there's enough demand. Is there a big difference? Oh, crap. Is there a big difference between Electrify Hybrid and PBR besides the cover? Oh, yes. Yeah, the Electrify Hybrid and PBR are not close. The Hybrid gets, even at the same surface, the Electrify Hybrid would get quite a bit further down the lane, and the PBR is strong. I mean, it's really, really strong especially for HP1 price point, but it gets more traction than my IQ Tour Solid. The Tour Solid has a little bit more on the back end. Excited to see the UC2 2 weeks from yesterday, or unless you want to go watch HQ's video for it. Storm Morpher, yeah, you got it. Only the OGs will get it. The 40-year-old OGs that still like Power Rangers. UFO or Rubicon? Well, they're fairly different. The UFO is quite a bit stronger than the Rubicon. The Rubicon punches a little bit more. And just as a reminder for my rated series, this is what my rated series is for. If you have any questions or want any ball comparison within the Storm Roto Grip family, except for maybe a couple of the Hustles, I think I've got pretty well everything else. And then some, I got pretty well everything else, and even some of the recently discontinued balls. So if you want to take a look at the UFO versus the Rubicon, you go to my rated series playlist. You should be able to find both of them. Within that playlist, watch them back to back, and you've got your comparison in about 2.5 minutes. So it's really pretty, and it instead of me just kind of describing it, you get to watch it at the same time too. So that's probably the best way to do that, is go check out my rated series. Does that Unicorn Cup focus the camera though? Well, no, I've got the camera closer today, so hopefully It's going to be a little tight with Jonathan next time we're on. You might have to buddy up, get close like we're besties. Which, in case nobody caught that in my rewind videos, see, this is the funny thing, is that I do the rewind videos, and it's pretty well explicitly stated that I'm kind of doing a throwback, kind of taking an old video and posting it again shamelessly to try to get to 2 million views this year. But there's some good old stuff also that kind of gets buried in the timeline. So stuff that, you know, if I put out so many videos, it just kind of gets lost. And there for a while, I was putting out a bunch of videos. And, you know, if you're newer to the channel, sometimes people don't go back and dig into stuff. And so it's fun to kind of go back and look at some of those old ones. But we had the Springfield 10K doubles last summer. So summer of 2019 in Springfield. This was pre-COVID, and there was an ending section where, you know, it was half the PBA tour was at this tournament. And we went and bowled a couple squads, and we didn't make the cut, shockingly, surprisingly. And most of, I think all the PBA bowlers did. But see, I had a commentary in bowling with them during this qualifying. You know, I was able to notice a whole bunch of things, and then in watching them later and kind of process it and break it down and explain things to people about that. And it was kind of funny how many people watched the video for like 25 seconds, and then they're like, oh my God, masks? Where's the mask? Where are the masks at? So everybody just wants to jump to conclusions and sound smart after missing the fact that it was a rewind. And then like a minute and 15 or a minute 30 in, I have Grumpy Cat pop up and warning and tell everybody was, yeah, this is before COVID. You know, probably if it says rewind down there and, you know, if it says rewind and, you know, people are not wearing masks, that's some pretty solid indication anyway. So, I'm going to have to get chummy with Jonathan. OG Idol and Fatal Venom. There we go. Bowling alley's closed again. Oh, Parallax. Yep. That Unicorn Cup, I mean, it has to. It's way too fabulous to not just literally draw everything to it. I mean, got an Amazon gift card and a, oh crap, this thing. I think that said Steam. Oh crap. Oh heck, I gotta catch up. Yeah, sad boys, what's up? Yeah, it's been a while. Amazon gift card and a Steam gift card. Well, that's always good. I think my wife's either the CEO or the president by now, since we own half of Amazon. No. What'd you think about the Mandalorian finale? Finally, they put somebody in charge of Star Wars that's actually a fan or acts like they have seen the franchise at one, you know, seen any of the movies or any of the shows or anything at any point in time. I don't know how people like Kathleen Kennedy end up in charge of something like that when they obviously have no interest for said thing that they're, you know, that they're in charge of. So, oh, there we go. I'm here for the Rubicon UC2 demo. Well, not yet. 2 weeks from yesterday. So January 8th, which will be next Friday. We have a bunch of interesting stuff coming up over New Year's weekend, but it'll be the Friday after that before we get any Rubicon UC2 stuff. HQ's already got up on their channel. They've already got a UC2 5 ways. If you want to go check that out and see it in action. Got the Proton physics. Hackers, yeah. I'm going to throw the, oh yeah, PBR with a short pin on the left side. Hackers, yeah. I got the Proton physics. Solid, very solid. Love the promotion. Belmo thanks you. Belmo thanks all of us. This is probably the best time to show this off. So, I have 7 promotions in the house at this point. Angel has 1 promotion, 2 promotion tours.
I thought you were going to take one of the two.
Well, probably. We have 2 of them.
And we have 3 Belmo spare balls.
Yeah, 3 Belmo spare balls. She's got 2 of the white ones and 1 of the black ones.
No.
Or she's got the original sparkle one.
Got the original white one, and then I've got 2 black ones of the remake.
Oh, okay. And then what's the one that you're... Okay, so that... Well, then we have the sparkle one that's like...
That's the original.
Okay, so we have the original. And then I thought you got a black one and a white one of the new ones.
You got 2 black ones.
Oh, 2 black ones. Okay. And then we've both got a trend.
I have the drive and the timeless.
Oh, yeah, and she's got a drive and a timeless. And then I got her this for Christmas. This is a Trend SE. This has the Axiom pearl cover on it. And the piston core from the Trend and the ProMotion. And it smells like blueberries. So yeah, we're definitely doing our part to help the cause.
The white
ball
is signed, though. That one's not good.
I have 2 new inbox PMs in the stash. Step your game up. Step your game up. Desert Tank is the boss. I do like my prime nice and slow, so I control the break point. That would be another one that I would recommend. That's urethane-y, but not urethane-y. But it's gone now too. Have not heard good things about the ProMotion. Are they true? It really depends on who you talk to. I think if you're a lefty and you don't like the ProMotion, you don't understand how to bowl on that side of the lane, just point blank. On the right side, I can see it being either or because it is very smooth. And as you throw, righties tend to play deeper on the lane. And if you expect the ball to get any kind of traction or make any kind of, or not any kind of traction, it gets traction. But if you expect it to make any kind of shape on its own, no. The ProMotion is more for the old school bowlers who had to have all kinds of mechanical tricks to make urethane and plastic balls do things back in the day. If you're somebody that likes physical tricks over going back to the bag, then you're going to like the ProMotion. Or the better of a bowler you are, I think the more you'll like the ProMotion. Or the older of a bowler you are, the more you'll like the ProMotion. Now, if you like to throw something at the spot and watch it tip, James, you probably won't like the ProMotion. It's very hard to understand for some people, and some people just aren't going to like it, especially because it's not the prototypical storm ball. So if you're a storm fan, it's very atypical storm ball. So I think it's great. Huh? No, not really, because it just acts different. So on the left side, if you don't like the ProMotion, you don't know how to bowl on that side of the lane. On the right side, it's going to be a mixed bag. But you have to understand the ball. It's very slow. It's very smooth. It's almost like stronger, more resin-like urethane. So you have to let it be what it wants to be. You're not going to get in a 3rd or 4th arrow and swing the entire lane with it just kind of pitching it at the spot. That's not going to work. Do you have the chart that lists cores and covers by strong to weak somewhere?
In Discord, we have it.
Yeah, it's linked in our Discord. Storm Nation, all one word. Discord.
Is Steve in there to share it?
Well, you can't share it on. Well, I guess yeah, James is in here. Ah, yeah. Didn't get any balls for Christmas. Found a ProMotion online and got it in the mail today. Yeah, they're still like crazy cheap, and there's places that still have them. So Tour Solid feels clean and quick after throwing urethane almost exclusively for like 4 months. Yes, I did get the Tour Solid back out, and it's my de facto 7-pin ball right now, but I did use it the last handful of games in a tournament the other day. And yeah, it feels quicker than I remember, but everything feels quicker on the left side. So. Yep, and Angel got her first one. Angel's never had an IQ Tour Solid before, and so we had placed an order, kind of a year-end order with Storm, literally 2 or 3 days before they discontinued everything, and so she had wanted an MVP Pearl. I wanted an all road. She wanted a tour solid, and then she wanted another emerald, and so we got, you know, like half of the order was, you know, to be discontinued in like 2 or 3 days, and we had no idea, and we just happened to put the order in at the right time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten like half of it. So, UFO, Rubicon, or RST. That's a pretty nice pair because the UFO is the strongest and the smoothest of them, and then you step down with strength and a little bit up with shape on the RST, and then you step even a little bit further down with strength and further up with shape with the Rubicon. So if you like strong stuff, that's a pretty nice 1-2-3 punch there. Got no mega. What do you use to target the dots or the arrows? The foul line. I look at the foul line. If I can get myself on the right line, or if I can get, you know, my body pointed the right direction, you know, having the foul line there, if I look at the foul line, that helps me to better read ball reaction in the first, you know, 15 feet of the lane. Generally speaking, if somebody targets the dots or the arrows, they don't see anything that happens for the first 15 feet of the lane because they're watching their target and they're throwing the ball at that target. And so they don't see anything that happens in the first 15 feet of the lane. I'm more of a field bowler, so I kind of generally align myself with the line that I want to play, and then as long as I'm kind of pointed the right direction and it feels good, generally it's going to come off and look good. And even if you're hitting the right target, if it doesn't come off right, or you're missing something that's going on in the front part of the lane, it starts burning up a little bit or something. It happens to work for me. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. Obviously, people are pretty successful with having boards and arrows and targets and whatever else. And sometimes having targets to look at and focus on kind of removes the hamsters from running so fast about the ins and outs of exactly how you're throwing the ball. And I find out that when I tend to pay more attention to where I'm throwing the ball, like I have had this weird thing where I've bowled better on tougher patterns recently than on easier patterns. And the thing that on tougher patterns, you have to pay attention to where you're throwing the ball. That's what matters the most. Because if you get it kind of in that generally right area, even if you throw it a little too hard or a little too soft, or give it a little bit too much, or kind of bail out of it, you're going to be in better shape than you are on a house shot if you're not getting it off your hand good, because you've got so much more room to work with on a house shot that you need to focus more on how you're throwing it and less on where you're throwing it, because you can get away with all kinds of things on a house shot. But if you're getting it off your hand nice and clean, then you're going to have area to work with, and you're going to get the breaks. Now, on a tougher pattern, doing all that you can to hit the pocket is step number one. Now, if you can actually get the right roll on it and throw it good and hit your marks at the same time, great. But hitting what you're aiming at and making, you know, whatever you have to do to get to the pocket first, even if you're not having that great of a day and it keeps dumping off your hand or whatever, and even if you just leave flat corners all day, you know, 190 something on tough patterns is, especially like a collegiate tournament or something, they'll take 190s all day. It may not win you something, but it's going to keep you in contention long enough to possibly get it figured out. So, also, stepson got me this shirt, the Imperial March, dun, 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 dun. And further down here, dun, 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 dun. So, yeah, hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized. Let's see. Is the UC2 a good ball for my first ASIM? I have no idea. I haven't thrown it yet. So, hey, puppies, chillax. Oh, okay. Borkin. All the Borks. So yeah, I have no idea on the UC2 yet. Haven't thrown it. I watched all the Wild Streak videos last night. You were really effusive in praise for that thing. Still feel the same? Yes. I still feel like it's a great ball that was very underappreciated and very overlooked just because it didn't stand out sitting on a shelf. I mean, obviously, Simonson used it quite a bit. It was kind of his de facto go-to lefty ball. I wish, or yeah, his backup ball. I wish I'd have drilled mine a little bit differently. The pin length was a little bit too long, and so it's a little straight down lane, but that's one of the ones that's on my list to plug and kind of change. So I think I'm going to make it a 4-inch pin. But yeah, I'm super bummed on the Wild Streak because that was a good one. Super idle. Heck yeah. Is a video that comes to mind or the oh crap. Oh man, I gotta catch up now. I'm so far behind. Discord, Can I Has link? Yep. Hot Cell Opinion video, the daddy, yeah. Grumpy Cat for like a solid minute, yep. I think I had a lot of Grumpy Cat on the Hustle HYB, not the HSB, the HYB. Pretty well the entire Wild Streak series. And then I did a Wild Streak. I did a Surface tutorial. Thanks, James. Yeah. What's your spot target? I don't really have one. It's wherever the ball, or I throw the ball and wherever it hits the pocket at and strikes from, that's where I stay. So it's always different. You've got to just show up and let the ball reaction be your guide and let the pins be your guide. You can't just kind of pick a spot to stand and pick something to target and then try to make it work. You've got to. Bowling is one of those things where you have to do what the ball and the pins want you to do. That's all that matters. The new era of Star Wars is insanely good. We're getting a Fett offshoot and a Ahsoka offshoot next year. Yeah, those should be pretty good, especially with who they picked to act in those roles. And I'm hearing some good things about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming out. And the less Kathleen Kennedy is involved, the better. Mandalorian has done it. It's weird because it started off kind of slow and it kind of started off like just a fun thing for Star Wars fans, because if you're not like hardcore into Star Wars, which I really like it, but I'm not like super hard. I haven't seen Clone Wars at all because I don't like cartoon stuff. I tried and I just can't get into it. But the Mandalorian started off as like this episodic thing, almost kind of like if anybody remembers Firefly. It's kind of like a space western, and it's great. And the Mandalorian had that kind of feel. Come here, Meestles. You want to come back up and get on the camera? I know.
I was going to get you now.
Oh. Yoon Bear, come here. Come here, Pan Bear.
Come here,
Come here, Pan Bear. Unibel doesn't get on the camera very much. Hi, Bear Bear. Oh, yeah. She's just going to lay down, so it's not actually going to happen. Yeah.
Bend the top down. Yeah.
Nobody wants to see me anyway. We just want to see the panda bear. Of course, I can't read the screen now, but yep. We just want to see the panda bear. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. She just wants a nap. Anyhow, the Mandalorian started off as just kind of a
go ahead and put it back.
Yeah, kind of like a space western and something fun for hardcore fans, and then it turned out to be like legitimate good stuff, especially towards the end of the second season there. So, all right, let's refocus this thing. Let's see if the unicorn mug should work wonders, because it's a unicorn mug.
Oh, you want to go back outside? You can go back outside.
I don't know. This camera's just borked. Maybe. There we go. Sweet. Hackers, yeah. Not yet.
Okay.
But yeah, all the stuff should be pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Wonder Woman 84, thoughts? No, it came out yesterday. I wanted to go see it. I mean, we have a big, nice. We have one of those B&B theaters that's got like the super plush seating, and it's on their grand screen. And so I think your seats move, and you have like speakers in your seat and whatever else. Yeah, and heated seats. So yeah, I want to go see it at the fancy theaters. Hopefully that'll happen soon. Probably not. I usually stick to the IQ line, but I do have a phase 3 as well. I have a hard time making the turn from deeper left. Yes, the phase 3 works surprisingly well on the left side. I think you either have to have really smooth stuff or really, really sharp stuff. The kind of in-between stuff doesn't seem to work. The really, really sharp stuff, like the phase 3, I can just fly out of, and it's going to tip. Or, you know, and I put a 4-inch pin on it, so I smoothed it out a little bit. And so it's very continuous. I think that that's the good thing about being on the left side of the lane, is you can use stronger layouts to control, you know, to make the ball more naturally continuous, so that you can just kind of fly out of it, and it tames down sharper stuff, and it's just a nice balance. Yeah, do a parallax for James. Ha ha ha. So did a certain Pearl ASIM look any kind of good to your newly lefty brain? I kind of like them. The astrophysics so far has been the only shiny ASIM that has worked out well at all, and really there's not a whole lot of ASIMs that have looked that great for me. The RST looks really good. The Astro looks really good. The Proton's just too strong. It's just too strong. I've got to get a little too deep to get it down the lane. And then it gets slow, and then, you know, trying to, that's the thing about being on the right side, is it doesn't matter. It's like, well, it doesn't matter whether I stand at second or fourth arrow. I just have to find where I get it down the lane at, and then as long as it shapes good, then that works. It shapes good, but from the zone you kind of have to stay at on the left side of the lane, I just can't use it very much. So now the parallax is another one that also, it's hybrid, but it's still shiny. Parallax looks pretty good. Bought my dad an IQ TS, also bought his girlfriend a Proton Physics. Any drilling recommendations for the IQ TS? I was thinking 5x5x2 because I like that layout personally. It depends on, the one thing with the IQs is they have a very low differential, so it's on the low side of medium. It's 0.29, which means it's not going to flare a whole bunch. So at 5 inches, that's not going to flare a whole bunch. So it's going to be, I would suggest something, unless he's got a higher rev rate. And I would guess, with it being your dad, he probably doesn't have the highest rev rate. So you might go something like 4.5 on the pin, just to separate the flare rings a little bit more. Parallax is the daddy high rev righty ball. Yeah. I mean, you can now, as long as you don't have high speed, that's why it doesn't work for James, is because he's got a higher rev rate, but he's also got high speed. And so it's just over under angle issues for days. But if you have kind of medium-ish speed, or you really like to roll the ball and you have a higher rev rate, yeah, the Parallax is the daddy ball for that. How was the Timeless? It was not received well. It was, I think, just by me. Yeah, with it being the hype of a Belmo ball and whatever else. But I mean, it was designed for higher rev rates. It was basically kind of like the dual drive core was kind of an interesting concept. The numbers were kind of along the high road numbers, but it was kind of designed for, you know, higher rev bowlers. It had a specific intent, but with it being Belmo, it's kind of like, you know, let's promote it to everybody, and well, it didn't really work for everybody. And so I think that just because it didn't work out, it wasn't a high road, or it wasn't a, you know, a phase 2 or something, that one of those super versatile, everybody can use it balls. I think it was a little polarizing. So should be a slower, stronger trend then, right? Yeah, theoretically. So yeah, piston plus AXP covers the combo I'd like to see stateside. Yeah, and that's the thing that gets a lot of people into the international thing. Some people just like collecting rare or vintage stuff, and you know, the international stuff, they make them in smaller batches, so whenever something international comes out, it's going to be rare. If you have one for any kind of length of time, it's going to be rare, especially because most of them are going to end up overseas. Most of them are going to get drilled. And so if you have one for, 2 or 3 years that is still in the box and hasn't been drilled, then it just gets rarer and rarer, and it gets rare really, really quickly. I've got a phase 2 tour, or no, a phase tour. I have a phase tour that just came out 3 years ago, and it's super crazy rare. Like, I could sell it for $500 shipped now, and there's always going to be people that gripe about the price. But when you have a ball that, almost increases in value 100% versus when it was new only 3 years ago. Oh, heckers. Somebody sent me money. Jeremy Smith, thanks for all the great info and happy holidays, Luke. Thanks a bunch, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Very, very appreciated.
As you pet your unicorn.
Yeah, as I. My brother's usually the quirkier one of the two. I'm like the.
You're the safe one.
Yeah, I'm the safe one, or I'm like the wannabe hipster or something like that.
I
but
don't know that I classify you there.
I don't know.
You were very concerned of what other people would think, so you want to be very safe because you don't want any controversy.
Yeah, no controversy, no conflict. This is more fun though.
I, on the other hand, wreck your.
Yeah. Thanks again, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. It's super cool. Super cool. But yeah, going back to the international thing, on some of this stuff that I'm probably never going to get around to drilling, some of this stuff like a Trend SE, it's like, oh yeah, I really like that core. I'd like to see other covers on it. And that's what people keep theorizing about, or saying, what I wish Storm would do this cover and this core. Well, on international stuff, that pretty well happens a lot because there's stuff coming out internationally all the time. And so if you want a certain cover core combo, it's probably on an international ball. And then something like this, the Trend SE or the Phase Tour, or you can even get some older balls back out, like the IQ Tour Fusion that people would love to see re-released. I have an IQ Pink. She has an IQ Rising. They're both IQ Fusions, basically. They're just kind of rebranded.
But mine smells better.
Oh, heck yeah, there's more monies.
I think.
$5, anonymous user. Crux Prime versus Halo Solid versus IQ Emerald. What do you think of as an arsenal? The Prime and the Halo Solid are going to be fairly close, but the Prime is smooth enough. Now, these are also... Okay, no, I guess IQ Tour Emerald. The Prime is smooth enough to where you're going to see a pretty big shape delta between the Halo and the Crux Prime. So on paper, it sounds a lot closer than I think it actually is. And IQ Emerald and Crux Prime can reach down quite a bit further than, it's a strong, heavy oil ball, but you can also throw it on a lot drier conditions than the literature says that you can, specifically because that cover handles friction so well. So the Halo, you can keep sanded and use that as your big ball. And then the Crux Prime can kind of float all over the place and do virtually whatever you need it to do. And IQ Tour Emerald kind of on the bottom side. I think that sound, if you're taking 3 balls around, you'd be hard pressed to find especially, if they work for you. That's kind of the biggest thing, is that lineup would sound great to a lot of people. And a lot of people would go, oh God, no. So realistically, it's however they work out for you. Now, as far as I'm concerned, again, the Halo Solid was pretty good. It's NRG solid, basically, micro tracks. But that was a good one. I am a huge fan of the Crux Prime. I've got my old righty one that I've had for 2 years now, waiting for holes on the left side. And then I've got 2 fresh new ones that I found, or that Angel found. So I have extra Crux Primes. I really like that cover and good things. And then the Emerald, it's okay for me, but I'm plugging it, and my wife's a big fan, so I'm plugging my lefty one and going to give her that one because she'll get more use out of it than I will. I'm a lot bigger fan of my Tornado Pearl. So, yeah, I think that'll work out. Thanks again, Jeremy. I would love to have a promotion being a lefty. Yeah, I mean that's why I've got a million of them. It's just, and it's an IQ Tour Solid, which is amazing on the left side of the lane. It's an IQ idea, but it's even a little bit earlier and a little bit smoother. The IQs are still, yeah.
Huh?
Oh, you can talk. It's okay. My stepson got a nice new gaming chair that's got speakers and a subwoofer in it, and I'm assuming he's assembling it right now. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I don't throw it near as much as I should because I don't want to be one of those lefties. But it's one of those things that it's like, well, I'm going to be adventurous and I'm going to throw other things just to kind of mix it up a little bit. Otherwise, I would literally. I told somebody this the other day that, you know, if I took a promotion and an IQ Tour and a Tour Nano Pearl everywhere, if I can't throw one of those three on whatever condition, literally whatever I'm on, I'm screwed. Because the promotion will get traction, will, you know, blend anything and will get traction on anything. The Tour Nano Pearl is kind of evolving into something along similar lines. It's a little bit more responsive, and then the Tour Solid is even a little bit weaker and more responsive than the Tour Nano Pearl. At first, I thought the Tour Nano Pearl was the sharpest one of the three. I think I actually called it right. Smoother than the other three because it's got a stronger cover, so it's naturally going to be earlier and smoother. But yeah, so that's why I try to throw other stuff just to be a little bit different because when you have a million bowling balls, it gets kind of old just throwing the same ones all the time.
You don't have a million.
Yeah, don't have. It's close.
You have 100.
Yeah. Thinking of getting an idle synergy in place of my idle pearl in phase 3, then putting something like a venom shock behind the synergy. So Arsenal would then be phase 2 IQ TNP, synergy shock. The synergy would definitely fit where you're trying to get it to fit. First of all, it's longer and it's definitely weaker than both the idle pearl and the phase 3. It's not a ton weaker than the idle pearl, but it is a little bit weaker. It's longer and it's sharper. I would reset the surface because the factory gloss that it comes out, even if you want it shiny, reset the surface. Take the factory crap off and then reapply your own surface. Go something like 1,000, 2,000 polish or something like that, because it's so shiny out of the box that it's tough. Yeah, why you got to do me like that? Throw it at the spot and watch it tip. Yeah. Looking forward to some free Jack Stack here in a week. But yeah, that sounds pretty boss too there, the phase 2 TNP, synergy, and shock. Yeah, sometimes you don't want your ball to tip, though. I hate to see a ball that jerks like ever. Yeah, lefties just don't, because you get scared when the ball starts to hook, because when it starts to, there's no, like on the right side of the lane, the ball starts hooking and then just kind of, even with sharp back ends, it doesn't just immediately take off. Like on the left side, as soon as it starts sniffing some kind of friction, it's gone. And you just have to hope it's in the right. You just have to hope it's in the right spot, because most of the time, it's just too much, a little too quick. And so smooth stuff, the smoother you can get stuff on the left side of the lane is generally better. So, love my promotion. It's a good ball between my TS and TNP. Yep. What ball did you enjoy reviewing more, your old Sherlock review or the new Proton review? My righty Sherlock review was a bunch of fun because I'd never seen that strong of a ball fly that much on the back end before. Like if you go back and watch the video, it was so much fun because especially at that house, this is something else that you have to understand. At the Westridge, the house that I used to film at, back ends are really soft there. It used to be a whole lot drier. Now there's enough oil on the lanes where you can kind of straighten out your angles. It's still pretty soft down lane, so it just is going to be what it is. But it's so slow down lane that getting anything to finish with any kind of consistent strength or firmness. I mean, you can shoot 230 all day long going like turkey, flat 10, turkey, flat 10. strike flat 10 or whatever that adds up to. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, in the Sherlock, I could get as deep as I wanted to and just kind of fling it right, and it would stop and it would turn sideways, and I just hadn't seen a ball do that at that house before. And so that was probably more fun than the Proton. Now the Proton is like a better Halo. So if you like the Halo, and I hate to say better, but it does all the things that the Halo did without the kind of negatives that the Halo had. So I think the Proton is just an improved Halo across the board. So, oh, heck yeah, man. Y'all are big on y'all must have gotten some Christmas money or something. Kratos is a tree hugger. Yeah, that's one of my favorite usernames, period. So I definitely remember. Definitely remember you, yeah. I want a code red and plan on drilling it eventually. Would it be worth the hassle and to get a code black and code X? If not, what's the best comparison you'd make for it? So a code black is going to be really tough to get right now, and the astrophysics, which I had thought was close, is also gone and is also now really hard to find. Code X's are probably not that hard to find right now, but the code X can be replaced with a Rubicon pretty closely. Code black is going to be a hard one to find. Astrophysics would have been the very easy suggestion. The Rubicon UC2 should be kind of in the same vein, but it's looking like, just watching HQ's video, I think that surface is going to have to be reset too, but I haven't thrown it yet, so I have no idea. I want a code red and plan on drilling it eventually. Would it be worth the hassle? Get a code black, code X. If not, what's the best comparison you'd make for it? Now, the code red, you might actually try to sell and get something else for it. I would recommend probably doing that because if you get a parallax is going to be a stronger code red. And you could probably, if you sell the code red and get a parallax, you probably have $50 to $75 left over after doing that. So, or if you just traded somebody straight up, said, hey, you know, parallax plus 50, get you a code red. So, but you're probably going to spend a whole ton of money getting a code black and a code X when those could probably be replaced fairly easily. A lot of people have not been terribly happy with what we got discontinued, and they've gone out of their way to kind of reassure us that they're not just kind of going to. So stuff like the Rubicon, the UC2, the astrophysics, stuff like that is going, we're going to keep seeing stuff like that. That's not one of those reaction shapes or kind of categories that they're going to just ignore and forget about. So, yes, I would sell the code red. I would trade it for a parallax, and Rubicon is a de facto code X, and the UC2 with a surface reset probably would be pretty close to a code black, because again, the E-Trax is really, really similar to R2S as far as that goes. So you could have, and the UC2 looks a lot like a very faintly purplish code black anyway. So, and it's got the pink labels on it stand out pretty well too. They're really sharp. So, what did I miss? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks once again, Kratos. I appreciate it. It's very appreciated. Let's see. Got a good question for you. What's the league Arsenal looking like going into 2021? I'm sure people are interested in what you and Angel have in your current league bags. Yes. So I've really been loving my Tour Nano Pearl here recently. It's one of those ones that, once again, I say stick with stuff. It's really hard to stick with stuff as a staffer, but especially after you pay $200 for something. I don't know how crazy people are. It's like, yeah, I threw it a game and a half. I just don't match up with it. I'll take half of what I paid for it. And it's like, well, that's ridiculous. The Tour Nano Pearl looked really good in the review, and then as it started shining up, generally when something is new and sanded out of box, it starts shining up, which makes it a little bit longer, a little bit quicker, so it's a little too much shape most of the time. And so it looks great for filming. And again, normally I film about 8 to 10 games while we're filming, or I throw about 8 to 10 games while we're filming. And so it had time to shine up. And then I took it out to League, and it was just too quick. It was just too quick, and that was kind of where I was still. We had just gotten started with League, and I was getting better, and it was too much shape. It was too much shape, and so I put it back in the box, and I'd pull it back out like a couple weeks later, and it would still just be too much shape. And then I let it sit for a while, and I pulled it back out, and so I'm just going to give this. We got more balls coming in. I'm going to give it one more shot and see. And that League night was just awful. I mean, I got all the taps in the world. It was comical how bad the carry was, and but I was close to the pocket the whole time. And this is the thing, is like, it looks so good rolling, and it won't knock pins down. And I told everybody in the Discord, I said, well, I'm done with this. I'm done with this ball. I can't keep doing this. It rolls great. And so I keep coming back to it, but it just won't knock the pins down. But I gave it one more shot, and it was amazing. I got the grips changed in it, and I thought, you know what? As we get into winter at Westridge, the back ends really slow down a whole lot. They get really soft, and so I thought, okay, well, this is about the right hook potential for this. And with it being too flippy, maybe it will balance out the softness of Westridge, and that's the night that I shot my 300 and 765. And ever since then, it's been amazing. But I let it shine. I let the cover actually get some use on it. So that's what normally happens. It shines up first, and then it kind of gradually gets smoother and smoother. So after you get some use on a ball, about 30 games is where you find out what you are going to end up having. It's really hard to judge it before that. Now, my reviews, I try to show you, well, this is what you're going to get out of the box. So this is what to expect. I don't want to bowl with it for 40 or 50 games and say, oh, this is what this ball does, and then you get it and you're like, well, no, this is nowhere close. So the review or the report cards, which I need to make a lot of those for stuff. I thought about that the other day and then I forgot. And we got another donation, so remember, report card. Clint Harris, thanks, man. Stop me from going to get an RSTX1 because I already have an Axiom in phase 2, but I don't have any balls stronger than them in my bag. The RST is going to be a hard one for me to stop somebody from getting, because it's one of those, it's a stronger Tornado Pearl for me, and so it looks quite amazing. I've started throwing it man, y'all got a lot of Christmas money. Y'all got a lot of Christmas money. Holy heck, y'all. Appreciate it. This is great. I should do this more often. I mean, I just can't. Some of the other stuff out there right now, I could kind of talk you out of, whether it's close enough or the RSTX1 is one of those. It was kind of the sleeper one. Like, everybody was more, a hybrid idle, and then oh my God, a solid physics. And the RSTX1 was like, well, I mean, it's new, but it's not as pretty as either the Synergy, which it looks really good in person. But on a picture on the shelf or whatever, it doesn't look as pretty, and it's new stuff and people don't really know what's going on with it. But there's enough history with the idle line and with the physics line already that's like solid physics and hybrid idle, take my money. And so the RST has kind of gotten forgotten about a little bit, but
James hasn't forgotten.
That's the thing, is that all the staffers have pretty much been gravitating more to the RST because I don't want to say it's a better physics, because the physics was pretty amazing. I think it's a little bit more usable physics, but it's the real deal. So it's going to be hard for me to talk anybody out of that ball. Now, I can say something like the Synergy's pretty clean. So I think you need a pretty heavy hand to knock that surface down. The Proton's very strong, so you need a lot of oil or be able to play a lot of angle. Now, it is pretty good for the heavy hands because it's early and slow. So the Proton's pretty surprisingly controllable. But I'm sorry, I can't talk you out of that one. Kratos, oh my gosh, it's you again. Man's just hooking me up here. I refuse to be out donated. I don't think Bill's here, so yeah, I refuse to be out donated. Well, you're the leader now at $35, so I appreciate it. $34.98. Whatever. I don't think Bill's here. So, what ball was stronger when you reviewed them, the Proton or the Sherlock? Also, which one was or is more continuous out of the two? The Sherlock, I think, is still the strongest overall because it had a very strong cover to begin with, and it had a large abundance of shape down lane too. Like, it's still, even with the UFO is awful close, but I think the Sherlock is still the combination of the most amount of hook that you're going to get with the most amount of shape that you're going to get, because normally they kind of do this type of thing. The more hook you get, the shape goes down, because it's going to get more traction early and start up earlier, and also blend the back end part of the lane out. So the Sherlock is not on paper stronger than the Proton, but from an aggregate perspective, the Proton is the cover stock of the Proton is stronger than the Sherlock. That's going to make it get a little bit more traction, but it's also smoother than the Sherlock. Now the Proton, the lock core kind of has that hook set look to it. And so the Sherlock would kind of get to the spot and then go in the direction of the roll, basically. The Proton is very continuous. So that cover just doesn't burn energy on friction. I think when you get something a little bit smoother too, it's not going to hit the friction and just burn all the energy turning right there. So the Sherlock, I think, from an aggregate overall perspective, is stronger both in terms of how much traction you get with how many boards it also covers. The Proton, I think, is the more continuous one, because the physics core, the atomic core, I've said, is very windy. It's very naturally continuous. And that the NEX cover, which is nano-based, it doesn't burn energy on friction. So the Proton, actually, it picks up and just continues to continue. So Merry Christmas, man. I appreciate it. All that Christmas money. Mwahaha.
Now I go back to the original bag that you spent 10 minutes talking about, the 2 nano pearl, because they wanted to know what was in our league bags.
Yeah, the league bags. I actually left that right there. So I actually remembered for a change. Must be the coffee.
Okay. Because you got it through one ball.
Yeah. So I started talking about the 2 nano pearl,
which we both have in our bags.
Well, but now you made me the report cards when I was talking about. It's like sometimes you can't tell exactly what you got with a ball for the first handful of games, and this was the 2 nano pearl. It rolled well enough for me to stick with it, and I'm glad I did, because it's just amazing now. It's an absolute monster. Like I said, I shot 300 with it three weeks ago, a month ago, or something with it, and then when we were on it wasn't I keep wanting to say Turnpike. Titanium. We were on Titanium, which is 44 feet. It's kind of a challenge. It's one of the challenge patterns, so it's not quite a sport pattern, but it's not as easy as those. It's a house shot with out of bounds, basically. It's a little bit longer, a little bit heavier. And I shot 290 on that and had 13 in a row at one point. With the TNP, I went 290, 240 something, the back two of that 6-game set. And if something else would have worked out better to begin with, I just had crazy angle issues all day. I thought I shot 230 with the phase 0, and then it started getting a little too shiny, and so it started getting a little over under. And then I kind of flip-flop back and forth. Urethane didn't work, and I tried some other stuff, and nothing just really worked. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's longer and slightly heavier, so if I point it with something smoother, the IQ Tour Solid was a little too quick. It was not enough in the front and too quick down lane, but the 2 nano pearl was perfect. I was able to just walk in, and it got enough traction up front to kind of walk in nicely, and it was smooth enough to where it kind of blended stuff down lane. So I just kind of, pointed it straight up. I gave it just a little bit of belly. I was like laying it down on 10, getting it to like 7 or something. It was just walking right back up. So if I'd have had something else work out, I wouldn't have discovered that. That wouldn't have happened. So that's in there. The ProMotion is always going to be in there. The IQ Tour Solid, I've kind of rediscovered again. That's amazing. And that's kind of my spare ball now, which is working well. My spare percentage has gone up. And then for the next bag, the RSTX1 gets in there because, again, it's a stronger Tornado Pearl. It's an asymmetric Tornado Pearl, so it's amazing. So I really, really am digging that one. The Parallax gets in there every once in a while. I do like taking that one. What else do I have? The Phase Zero, because I've got holes in it. It's the Sherlock. It's the phase core, the velocity core.
Nice.
And hi, Pig. Hi, Piggy. It's the phase core and the Sherlock cover. So it's a it's stronger than the Phase 2 cover. It's slightly stronger than the Phase 2, but it's also firmer at the break point. So, and that's what we were talking about the overseas balls. Sometimes they have these great cover core combinations that you just can't get anywhere else. And when I heard Phase Core Sherlock cover, I had to have one. And I drilled it, and it's been really good. I've been taking that to league a whole lot. And, seeing as how it was $350 or something, I'm like, well, I can't just let this sit on the shelf, especially now that I've got holes in it. So that's going around. And then I kind of rotate the last spot. I'm going to be creating a pink bag. So I've got my pink phase, the kind of the breast cancer awareness from a couple years ago, which is basically it's R2S hybrid. So it's the high road cover phase core. And then I've got the IQ Pink, which I just got, which is basically an IQ Tour Fusion, but it's pink and it smells like cherry. And then, yes, well, I guess, I can say it. It's also pink. It should be here Monday. But I'm thinking about a pink bag. Again, thanks again, Kratos. I appreciate you, buddy. And I appreciate your username. So anyway, that's kind of my league bag, and which is, I don't anticipate the core bag changing at all, because the promotion is always going to be there. I will always have a promotion in my bag everywhere I go. And so I think I might have to revise my top 5, top 10 list, because it's solidly in the top 5, probably top 3, and I just don't see how it.
And I gave you crap about that last year.
Won't be.
I was like, you need to redo this because promotions.
Yeah, the promotion is just so good. It will. I mean, it has been in my bag since I got it. Since I drilled the first one right-handed, it has been in my bag everywhere I've gone, to every tournament, to everything. I have not had a promotion, has not been out of my bag, except for when I first started lefty and I hadn't drilled one lefty yet. But it didn't last. It didn't take very long. I think I was without a promotion for like 2 weeks. And it was a tragic 2 weeks. But a promotion will never, ever be out of my bag. So that's one that you can always count on being there. The IQ Tour Solid.
Until you run out of them anyways.
Yeah, until I run out of them. The IQ Tour Solid. But the good thing about Spec is it's super durable. So, I'll probably still have them 20 years from now. But IQ Tour Solid is another one that I can't see coming out of the bag, because it's kind of my de facto spare ball now. It's a little bit longer, weaker, and stronger than the promotion. So even if I don't use it on the first ball, it's going to be in there for the spare ball. And then the IQ Tornado Pearl is kind of my daily driver, my heavy use ball that I tend to throw everywhere. It's kind of my new benchmark ball. The promotion's Old Faithful. If nothing else is working, I know what it's going to do. I know it's going to get work done. But the Tornado Pearl is kind of my daily driver, so I can't see that. It's going to be tough to break that bag. The second bag, Phase Zero, because it gives me some shape when I need it. And it's got a decent amount of track. It looked really good at League the other day, and one of the guys I was bowling against said, it's like, this is just, it's like, how are you not averaging 230? 7 pins. Literally 7 pins. But
you are so far behind.
Yeah, I know. Phase Zero, RSTX1, and then whatever I kind of rotate in there. But when I'm rotating in there is Astrophysics. The Idol gets some play. There's too much other stuff. There's too much other stuff to throw. Anyway, I'm terribly far behind, so I got a 900 Global Zen. Yes, the Zen is sweet. There's a lot of people talking about the Zen. How's the proton physics for straighter bowlers? It's strong, so it's definitely going to be very strong. But if you tend to throw the ball straighter anyway, you're probably using more aggressive stuff, so you're probably used to it. So if you just kind of lay it and walk it down nice and easy, it's going to be a good one. The way all the staffers are freaking out about the RST, I suppose I need to get one, right? Yes, and that's a very interesting because the staffers are always going to say that everything that comes out is the newest and greatest and best is going to be in their bag for a long time. But if they're actually throwing it, you can, and especially if they're posting honor score videos, that's how you can really tell what the staffers like. Is if they continue to post big score videos, or if you're watching tournaments, I went to a tournament and the RST and the whatever else, if they're taking them to tournaments, if they're posting honor score videos with them, or if they're talking about them longer than just the first couple months after the ball comes out, or if you see them actually using the ball a lot in league and using the ball a lot at tournaments, that's how you know what the good stuff really is. That's how you dive kind of through the BS and figure out what's actual legitimate stuff. And yes, the RST is legitimate. It's pretty good stuff.
Consideration of the bowler though, because you take different stuff than James does.
Well, yeah, but the RST is the one that seems to be. Oh man, Brian Collison, thanks, man. $20. This is for Angel for putting up with you. Angel had a good Christmas. She had a good Christmas.
I don't think he's referring to just Christmas.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
She got a little bit of stuff for putting up with me. She had a pretty good Christmas. So I had a pretty good Christmas too. Yeah, I'll catch up with the questions, then I'll show off the rest of my stuff. Let's see. Oh boy. No, go to scroll. Thanks again, Brian. It's for Angel for putting up with you. Bear, you playing with your rope?
Yeah, she is.
Yep, you're playing with your rope. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so far behind.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, so I answered. Okay, so at least I answered your Arsenal question. So yeah, the Zen looks amazing. When I want to pull in my break point, I target the dots. When I want to shape it or cram it up the gutter, I look at the arrows. I also look past the arrows. That's a really good point, because if you look closer, generally you're going to throw the ball a little bit slower, and if you look a little bit further down the lane, you're going to throw a little bit harder. You're going to get it through the front a little bit easier. So yeah, moving your targeting distance can actually help on the lanes. So yes, someone say RST. Yeah, the RST it's good stuff. Thank you for getting an all road. What's your thoughts on the ball? It's been recently discontinued. We were kind of mixed because my righty one I didn't really like that much, but it's one of those that's very much in the vein of the RST and the Tornado Pearl and whatever. So I haven't drilled one on the left side yet, but that is happening because I really, really like that general kind of look. And if I can get a Tornado Pearl type look that's longer and that's at least longer through the fronts, that could be really, really amazing on the left side of the lane. And it looks great. It looks great and it smells great. I also have an Outcry though, which is an OG, triple OG that I'm keeping in the stash though. I'm thinking of the Pearl Rubicon. It looks really sharp in person. Haven't drilled it yet. Haven't gotten any lane time on it yet. You can watch Storm's video for it. That mug, I'm telling you, yeah. Now that it's been, Kevin, since it's been forever since you've said something about it. That mug, I'm telling you what, man.
Yeah, I was gonna make sure you show off the 3D because it's 3D.
Yeah. I mean, the tail is the handle, and then the rainbow really throws it over the top. I mean, yeah, this mug is just. My brother always gets the good stuff. I just got him whiskey. I definitely got the better end of the deal. Now he got some good stuff. He got some Woodford Reserve Rye. He got some good stuff, but I got a unicorn mug.
He already has a bunch of it.
Thanks for all the tips all year. My phase 3 is now finally rolling right. And sometimes, again, this is when I kind of stumbled on the breaking in thing. I told people, I'm like, you have to break the ball and you have to give it some time. You have to give it some time. You have to give it some time. And it doesn't really sink in until you tell people. It's like, look, it's like a brand new baseball glove. You know, if you get a brand new baseball glove, anybody that plays baseball, softball, whatever else, you know that you have to put some time in with a glove first. You have to. I remember when I got new baseball gloves as a kid, my dad would take a ball and he'd put it inside, and then he'd oil the entire. He'd get the glove oil or whatever, and he'd oil the crap out of it a couple times, and then he'd put a ball inside, and then he'd wrap it up. You know, he'd wrap it all up, and they're just the amount of things that we went through to break a glove in and to get it comfortable, to get it workable, to whatever else. It was kind of a process, and a lot of the time, it's the same way with a bowling ball. It's just what I talked about with the Tour Nano Pearl. You know, if I'd have just thrown it for 5 games or something, or you know, it looked great for the review, but then as soon as it shined up, it's like, well, this ball's awful for like 20 games. But once I got some time on it, once I got some use on it, now I don't want to go anywhere without it. So you've got to give it time. Thanks once again, Brian. Thanks once again, Brian. I appreciate it. It's still up here. So yeah, sometimes you just have to give something some time and work with it, and especially if you're spending $200 on a bowling ball. I can't imagine not giving something some time, not taking care of it. You know, the people want to. This is the funny thing, is that the people that complain about, well, they just keep coming out with stuff faster and faster and faster, just trying to get money out of me. But then when you go spend the money on something, and they're like, oh, game and a half, it sucks. $100. It's like, well, these things don't add up. PBA card stroking lefty I bowl with loves his all road, like he brings 3 other things to sport tournaments. Yes, I can believe that. I can believe that, because I think the all road would look significantly better on the left side of the lane than it does on the right. And I know Brad Miller still carries around an all road. He throws it pretty frequently because it's a stronger cover with a weaker core, so you're still going to get the traction, but without the overwhelming assistance from the core getting the ball to be earlier and stronger. It's a stronger cover that's still going to get traction, but that you can kind of manipulate with your hand. Yeah, Discord's a great place to keep your mind on bowling, especially considering the lockdowns and alley closures. That's a really good point. Thanks once again for the donation. But that's actually a really good point. I hadn't thought about it like that. So yeah,
in general, last week when I did just a couple days ago.
But yeah, to keep talking about bowling, to keep focused, to keep mentally kind of engaged, so that you don't get yourself too far out of it and come back and have to reset. You can still do a lot of mental preparation. You can do a lot of mental work. A lot of my progress on the left side of the lane has been running through what I'm doing over and over and over again in my head and thinking about mechanical things.
Balances of,
yeah.
You know, if you think you have an idea but not sure, you can bounce it off the community and really get some good feedback. Yeah, I don't know how many times that I've gone to a tournament here recently, and I'm like, God, it just sucked. And then I will think through it and think through it and think through it, and I'll happen upon it's like, oh, well, I was doing this wrong all day long, or this, my problem was this. Well, I was doing this wrong, and then the next time I go out, I've reset even though I haven't gone out and thrown a ball, the next time I go out, I've reset myself and instantly do well. It's just exactly what happened with my 300 that started a big long string of a bunch of big sets. So any more coffee? Yeah, it's kind of cold now. You want something else? Do the AK, do the espresso. Oh man, y'all just giving me all your Christmas money. Oh, he gave me more. Shout out to promote the Patreon. Get special access to a lot of behind-the-scenes shenanigans and premium access to our community. Yes, thank you for that. My Patreon is $5 a month. I don't post a whole lot on the Patreon because it's basically like a Facebook feed, and I find out that if I continually post stuff there, all the good articles, there's a lot of good articles and stuff that I've written that kind of gets buried by the frequent, hey, here's the new video post, even though you've got it in the Discord, you got the notification in the Discord and from YouTube and from wherever else. I posted a lot of, it was kind of redundant there for a while, and then ended up burying a lot of the good stuff. So I'm only going to post like the good meaty kind of coaching stuff on the Patreon thing. But Patreon is more of a gateway or a filter for Discord. Discord's our online chat server kind of community thing.
There's about 100 people in there.
Yeah, there's about 100 people in there. We have a lot of
There's a free side. There's a couple hundred people in there.
Yeah, there's a free side too. So if you just want to join the Discord, you don't have to get it. The Patreon gets you into the kind of the private chat, kind of the behind the scenes thing. And if you've ever signed up for any kind of free social media thing, it gets very toxic very quick, because you can, or it doesn't all get toxic, but nobody's going to actually put a card in and sign up for something, even for $5, just to be toxic and disruptive. So it does filter out a lot of the toxicity, and everybody that's in there really wants to be there. Again, it's only $5 a month too. So it's just, it's not, I'm not trying to make a bunch of money on this or something. It's just, it helps me out a little bit with everything, and it filters out the trolls and the toxicity and stuff like that. So we do a lot of stuff on the Discord. We're pretty active on that. Plus we have a lot of different channels too. So we have a dog channel where we just all post pictures of our dogs and some cats. We have some foodies in there. So we have a kind of a food/culinary channel. We have tournament channels. So our Greater Kansas City Open, we had a lot of people fly in from everywhere. We had a couple people from Colorado, one of whom is now in Pennsylvania. Tamer flew in from Pennsylvania, I believe. Tamer's in Pennsylvania. Okay, Tamer's in Pennsylvania. So Tamer from Tamer Bowling came out and bowled. James is from North Carolina. We had Joe come out from Columbus, Ohio.
/Colorado.
Yeah, /Colorado. He's in and out. And then we had some local guys. Chad and Tobias were there. So we had people come from all over the place, and we had some local people, and we had Jack Stack Barbecue. Heckers, yeah.
Lonnie's.
Yeah, Lonnie's. But yeah, that's another thing, is that we have several tournaments too, that whenever we have any kind of tournaments going on, if you can make it out to come bowl the tournament, we have kind of group tournaments that we get together. So it's just,
well, and other people, when the tournament channel, other people, so if you're in another state, those people are also sharing their stuff. So if there's a tournament that's a half hour, an hour away, if you knew about it, you'd drive, they share that tournament in there for everyone to know about it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on in there. So,
and James and I, you're not as active when you're busy doing other stuff, but James and I at least are active, especially in the general.
Yeah. And it's just a place to talk bowling with a lot of other like-minded people. And again, it's even a little bit more concentrated, because the people are there, really want to be there. You don't have to wade through so much of the other nonsense that's in a lot of other free sites. So, yep. Anyhow, thanks again. John Favreau can write anything. Yeah, John Favreau is amazing. I mean, yeah, because I saw something the other day where he started the MCU with Iron Man. What else? He's done all kinds of stuff. He's done some of the Disney reboots that were really good. Star Wars. He's just amazing. Clone Wars started off slow but got better. Yeah, I know it's a really amazing story. The animation stuff I just have a hard time with, especially when it's that kind of stuff. Like, I like animation generally. Zootopia is like one of my favorite movies ever. And I play Overwatch and whatever else. So I'm sure that once I got into it, I'd get into it. But
Creamer this time or now?
Got to get 3 or 4 episodes in on the Clone Wars, and you completely forget it's a cartoon. Maybe it's like giving a bowling ball some time. I'll have to try it. Henry barked at Panda. Yeah.
Do you want creamer this time?
No.
Okay.
I think I've exhausted my creamer. My brother watched Wonder Woman yesterday and said it was, I need more of my peppermint bark creamer. My brother watched Wonder Woman yesterday, said it was great. I figured it was good. There was one of my friends that posted something on Facebook that said it was kind of boring, but I don't know. I'm going to see it anyway. So he probably meant Gal Gadot is great. Well, that's
No lies detected there. I love my phase 3 being lefty, best ball I've ever thrown. That's one that I think needs to make it in my bag a little bit more because it is legitimately really, really good. My phase 3 on the left side is as good as it was on the right side. I got a lot of use out of it on the right side. The only thing with it is it's kind of sensitive to friction sometimes. So, but why is he so far behind reading? Because people ask me questions, and then I spend way longer answering the questions than it takes to write the questions. So,
Yeah.
You new here, Big Ben? Yeah. You ask a question, I'll get to it 30 minutes later, probably. I will get to the question. I always get to the questions before the live stream is over. Now, however long that takes.
This is why James makes the big bucks.
Yeah, because James tries to help with the chat and answer all the questions so that I can just sit here and ramble and drink coffee out of my unicorn mug. Man, we got another one here. John Schaffer. Needs sport pattern help. Thanks again. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Patreon. We should point out when people do that they are a Patreon, just to thank them.
Oh, yes. Many thanks. There's something popped in and just went right through, and I didn't.
Sorry, I should have said anything.
Yeah, about the Patreon thing. You can get a free preview because they only charge once a month at the beginning of the month. So if you wait until after you can sign up and get like 5 free days right now. They start charging on the 1st. And so they only charge once a month. They don't charge you instantly when you sign up. So you can get kind of a free preview. So you can go ahead and pledge your amount. And if it's not really your thing, then you can just cancel before the 1st of the month and it won't charge your card. So sport pattern help. I'm bowling on 39-foot Don Carter recently and couldn't shape the ball at all in the fresh. Higher speed, lower tilt, leaning towards a proton or a fast pitch. The fast pitch, I've had a few problems with lately because it's just a little too weak. The pitch black is at least going to dig in and go. The fast pitch is more, I think the fast pitch doesn't handle the heavier, longer stuff as well as the pitch black does. The pitch black is going to get traction on anything. I think the fast pitch is going to control shorter and drier patterns a lot better when they're flat anyway. Still wouldn't recommend it on a house shot. But the fast pitch, I think, is kind of actually a urethane ball for drier lanes. It's going to control... Huh? Yeah. I think the fast pitch is going to be much better than the pitch black because the pitch black digs in when it hits the lane and then just walks in. So it's going to dig through literally any volume. I mean, it's crazy. Now, the fast pitch, on the other hand, I tried to use it on titanium the other day, 44 feet, 25 mils. Shouldn't have been that much of a problem. I did take it back down to 1,000, and it just didn't quite have the teeth to get through it. It was a little too smooth and a little too weakish. So I think that it's going to be better for the shorter, drier stuff. The Proton, on the other hand, I think that you're going to actually see that being used because it's very much in the vein of the Alpha Crux. It starts off fairly quick to begin with, but I think the pros are going to start, I think you're going to start seeing it on TV because the Axiom's already started showing up. And so when they need that same cover with a stronger core or a little bit more boom, and not necessarily more boom, more traction, so to speak, the Proton, I think, is going to be pretty good. So I would probably lean towards the Proton for that. So Merry Christmas to you. This also works as another handle. Coffee's hot. We got one of those fancy new Keurig machines with the multi-stream technology. I hear it saturates the grounds more evenly. Yep, Big Ben is new here. When he talks about something, he stays on it. Yeah, I'm terrible. This is why I have people. I've been getting tips from Luke about my phase 3 was drilled wrong 4 times. Yeah, I'm always behind when it comes to answering questions. When it does it, yeah, I get questions faster than I can answer them, basically. So I got a Hustle Inc. and the Closer Solid. Halo Solid versus Crux Prime. I actually have that up on my I have that up on my. I have both of those on my rated series, and you did send me a donation. I talked about that earlier, so yes, thanks. I'll private message him. I was just saying thanks for finally getting my pro shop on the right setting. Jonathan, hi. Since you said something a long time ago, thanks once again, Mr. John, for the.
Yeah, what's his timestamp of that?
It doesn't have timestamps on here, which is probably a good thing.
Okay, well, I'm gonna find it.
Proton is the biggest, hookingest ball of all time. Yes. Just got here. I've seen the timeless be outstanding for some people, all two-handed, and it works well for Angel because she's got slower speed. So, yeah, how is it the lefties seem to have to play different? Meaning, I don't see lefties hooking it like Belmo from the left side because it's just not on the left side of the lane. There's more shape, so everything reacts stronger on the left side of the lane because there's not as much of a track in the lane. And because the left side of the lane doesn't break down like the right side, you don't have to get in deep. I think a lot of righties develop kind of a third to fourth arrow game just because that's where they're going to end up playing the majority of the time anyway. Plus, on the right side of the lane, you have a track, so there's more friction, so the back ends are generally slower on the right side than the left. And so you do need to move in a little bit to get the extra on the ball to get it to tip down lane. If you're too straight, the ball's not going with a higher rev rate. The ball's just not going to get down the lane. And if you have a lower rev rate and start to move in, it just doesn't have enough to make the corner. So in order to get the amount of rev rate on there on the ball that you need to get it to shape right on the back end, you need to move left and use the angle and the oil to help you out. On the left side of the lane, you don't have near as much traffic over there. I'm an hour behind. Yeah, I figured.
Normally, you get to at least 30 minutes. But I can't even.
We're setting records today all over the place.
I can't even get to anything older than 1203.
Yeah.
And that's not there. So you are at least an hour behind.
Cool.
Sorry.
Yeah. So lefty's hooking it. But if you're watching this after the fact, it all works out. It's just if you hope to get a question answered during the live stream while you're watching without sitting there for an extra hour longer than you want to be sitting there, it's probably not going to go well. But seeing as how lefties have free shape, so we don't have to put revs on the ball at all. Actually, we have to kind of tame things down because there's an abundance of shape. And we don't have to get deep because there isn't a track in the lanes, and so there's lower. James is leaving, so y'all are screwed. Yeah. So anyway, so the best thing to do on the left side of the lane, or what the left side of the lane basically makes you do, is it gets you closer and closer to the gutter and softer with your hand. That's just kind of naturally what's happened to me throughout the whole thing. It's just something that to get to the pocket and to carry, I'm missing the word. Consistently, to get to the pocket and carry consistently, you end up getting closer to the gutter and being softer with your hand. It's just kind of what the lane makes you do, because if you get in, the ball is going to go a little bit longer than it does on the right side of the lane, and then it's going to really jump. Well, that can give you flat hits and can burn up a lot of energy from the ball making the turn. So you move back left. Well, then, it's probably going to be too early. And so the lane and the ball reaction just kind of makes you go further and further left and softer with it and open your hand and get out of the ball quick and get out of it easy. That's why you see somebody like Jacob Buttriff, even though he's playing the entire lane, everything's short, especially his reactive stuff. He has short pins on all his reactive stuff, like 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and it turns sideways like 5-inch stuff does for the righties on the right side. And actually, my new MVP attitude, my 2.5-inch MVP attitude on the left side acts just like my 5-inch pin on the right side. So it's just a completely different world over there. So you're just not going to see it happen. Even the two-handed lefties still play as far left as they can most of the time. They have an extra trick that most lefties don't have, but they still. How is parallax for two-handed
two-handed, 400 rev, 15 mile an hour at pins. Does the lack of thumb drill throw off the ASIM, become sim with the drill balancer? I don't think so. Yeah, the ASIM core is going to be ASIM. So, but the parallax is generally good for higher rev rates and medium to slow speeds. So, something Mikey Pinnell would be proud. Once again, thanks, Jeremy Smith, if you're still here an hour later. Belmo has a lot of haters, mostly from oldsters and casuals. Guy is good. Yeah, and that's the thing is watching him, you can tell how good of a bowling sense he has. He understands bowling concepts. He understands ball reaction. He's just good. Would he have been as dominant one-handed? Probably not. But like Bill Hall, the kind of famous bowling coach, said one time, he's like, okay, when bowling started, there were no holes in the ball, and then there was one hole, and then there was two, and then there was three, and then is like, so the fact of the matter is that we're just now figuring out, or we're just now getting to the point where people are holding the ball with two hands. He's like, it feels like something that should have happened a long time ago, because we're constantly trying to figure out different ways to hold the ball, to throw the ball, whatever else. So I don't understand. I've never understood the two-hander hate. I dislike anything. I used to dislike high rev rate obsession in general, just because a lot of people would come into the pro shop in the early 2000s like, which ball in the lane or which ball in the wall hooks the most. And I'm like, okay, so you're just one of these other people who continually chases throwing pins around all over the place, because you can have somebody average 150, but if they no thumb the ball and spin the crap out of it the one time that they see pins going back and forth on the deck, that's what lights their eyes up, and that's what they're chasing. I'm like, okay, well, you want to watch the ball hook. You're never going to be good. But then you see some other guys that are actually really good doing it like that, and then Belmo kind of legitimized it. So I have no problem with anything, because I'm kind of a forward, bigger thinker. And so I have no problem with anything that accomplishes the goal. The basic two rules of bowling are stay behind the foul line, knock all the pins down. Outside of that, I don't care how you do it. Now, I don't, if there's any other goal there besides just having fun, I mean, yeah, if you want to have fun, but you don't have to spend $200, $250 on a ball to have fun. So that's why I would kind of try to steer them in an opposite direction and say, okay, well, what are you actually going for here? So anyhow, seems like a lot of rare gold high roads on Facebook left lately. Yes, those are new overseas releases, and I think that's R2X Pearl. I think that's the high road, or the Marvel Pearl cover on the high road core. Belmo's bowling in a new era. He wouldn't score as well in the conditions when Earl Anthony and Weber were good. Probably not, because it was a whole lot drier, and even though they did use urethane and plastic, I don't think his game, and that's the thing, is I don't think his game would have developed in that era. But at the same time, Mark Roth is kind of the father of the modern power game, and so if somebody had thought, back when things were a little bit more traditional, nobody probably would have thought to use two hands, on a bowling ball. But Mark Roth was the first one to really, wheel on it like that. Is that a Green Ranger hat? Doggone right. An hour later. All right. Thanks again, anonymous user, for the donation. Henry Henner. Hey Luke, did you hear about the Byte SE that has that is overseas, and do you see it coming stateside? No, the Bytes will never be here. The Strong Bytes and the whatever else, that's an overseas only brand at this point. So I know James has really been wanting that solar parallax really bad. If it has a different cover on it, maybe, because I think that depending on what that core is in next, that's one of those things. I think that core could be very interesting, because it seems very continuous, like the physics core. So I am expecting that cover, or that I really like the parallax. I don't throw it a whole bunch, but I really do like it. It's just one of the things about having 35 balls downstairs. How common is some international core cover combos brought states? It just doesn't happen because we don't have near as many. We don't have near as many releases over here as they do over there, and so a lot of the stuff that happens overseas is just going to be overseas only. That's why we've kind of gotten into it. And we've even gotten our buddy, new motive staffer buddy, our longtime buddy, new motive staffer, Riley Patton, into a lot of their overseas stuff, because you can just get once you throw a bunch of the stuff and get really familiar with all the covers and cores, then you start to, it even trips you out further. Like, oh man, I've had this core with a bunch of different stuff on it. I'd really like it if you took this core and this cover, and most of the time it happens on the overseas stuff. And so, and just besides having something rare and different and whatever else. So, how did you like the Sonic? Oh, balls. It was one of those that was really good out of the box, and that it was just too much core for that cover, and it just didn't work for me personally. I think it would have been a totally different story on the left side of the lane. My 4-inch pin phase 3 actually acts a bunch like a Sonic on the left side of the lane, and I probably would have really liked the Super Sonic on the left side because it's just a different game over there. So, going to work. Sorry, Curtis. A long time ago. What do you think about the new company out called Swag? I don't know. I don't see that. That was my thing with Deviate when they came out, because they were trying to act hardcore, and that's like with the hammer ball that everybody knows that came out a while ago. When they try to act, when a commercial venture tries to act all edgy, it's kind of like that fourth grader that just learns some new cuss words and feels comfortable saying them. That's kind of what it feels like when these companies that still ultimately have to kind of market to everybody try to be edgy. It just comes off as a high schooler or a grade schooler trying to be cool or something. So I just the Deviate, the hard Deviate thing, and then the Swag trying to be cool or whatever. It's generic, bland, cool. It's not like actual edgy or interesting or different, because they still have to market to a larger portion of the public to make it work. Thank you so much for answering my question. Yes, again, this is an hour later. Thank you for the donation. It's really appreciated. Both Swag and California are making great releases. And I think the problem is, a lot of the time, they might be making great releases, but their marketing is, it's just like the big bowling thing. Victor Marion was behind a lot of the big stuff for Storm back in the early 2010s. But, if you don't have the marketing to back it up, or the interest to jazz things up, you can have some really, really good stuff that just doesn't sell because it just didn't draw any attention. That's why I kept harping on stuff like the Wild Streak, because you look at it and then you throw it and it's like, well, wow, this is good stuff. Or something, again, like the RST, it just doesn't kind of stand out and grab you. Where something like the Proton Physics and the Idle Synergy are going to sell a whole lot better because they're very eye-popping. The marketing on them is great. And so people are going to be naturally drawn to them to begin with. Some people aren't going to end up liking it. And, that's where you're going to get the people saying this is overhyped or that's overhyped. But the Proton is really pretty good. And so it at least gets people in the door. And some people aren't going to like it, but it gets a whole lot more people to like it or to be happy with it than it otherwise would if it's kind of a blander looking, the marketing on the Wild Streak just wasn't great. It was kind of duller, drabber colors, and purple isn't super popular. And then when you call something the Wild Streak, it's kind of, I don't know, the marketing wasn't great on it, but the ball itself was fantastic, and it was a totally different look. It was basically the Phase 2 cover on kind of like a high road core, but something that's not quite a high road core. I've talked about it a bunch before, but it was a really great ball, and it's a real shame that it's gone. And you're still going to see Simo throwing it a lot because that's kind of his go-to ball when he goes back up on the left side of the lane. And that kind of reinforces the stuff about the left side of the lane, is that when he throws on the left side, he needs stuff that's stronger cover, weaker core to help the ball get down the lane, number one, and then kind of blend the back end. So tick, 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 tick. Why do they give people handicap on 9-pin no tap? I have no idea. That's what when you're a lower average, because all the higher averages, everybody's going to average so much higher. I mean, if you give a 220 average 9-pin no tap, most of the time they're going to get 9 the vast majority of the time. And if you put them into a situation where all they need to get is 9, some people don't make that connection. Like when I'm in a 9-pin no tap tournament, everything changes. It's just hit the pocket somewhere because you're going to get 9. So handicap, it's still one of those things, but yeah, it gets kind of weird. So what do you think the best one ball out there is for lefties comparable to righties, or a whole different strategy? I think it's a whole different strategy. The best one ball out there right now for lefties probably is the oh man, and that's hard because there's several pretty good ones. The Proton physics, I think, is going to be good for more typical lefties. I roll it a little bit more than typical lefties, so it's a little too strong for me. But the RSTX1 has been amazing so far. I've really been digging that one. And the Axioms are rough on the left side of the lane because most of the time you don't need that much help. Most of the time it's bigger, smoother, symmetric balls. So, but the RSTX1 is a rare example of something asymmetric that I can throw with, throw quite frequently. So, I'm not entirely sure. Thanks once again, Kratos, for the first donation. If a righty switches to lefty, at what average would they consider going scratch 180? I'm not entirely sure I understand the question. Generally, 220 is considered a scratch bowler. So, code black is 300 to 350. I know, Kratos, I know this and I don't care. Okay. Code red will pull closer to 250. Yeah. Will you be able to throw 900 global equipment? They haven't made an announcement yet. There's all kinds of cats running free of their bags on Facebook all over the place because people apparently can't read contracts. So consider that however you're going to consider it. But there's been no official announcement, so I'm not saying anything. Okay, thanks once again, Clint. Thanks once again, Kratos. I'm trying to speed through these now. I think Shim, aka James, Bill's a Time Lord. He's everywhere at all times. What's the best ball for straight bowlers? That's really tough because it's completely different. Oh yeah, what cover was on the Sherlock? Yeah, GI-17. That's what's on my phase 0. So imagine Sherlock cover phase core, and then you have a phase 0. That looks like a phase tour. That kind of looks like a phase 2 that smells like blueberries. So there you go. Best ball for straight bowlers. Yeah, it's tough because there's all kinds of different straight bowlers on all kinds of different conditions. They throw it different ways, and so it's really hard to answer those types of questions. But like Brian said, join the community Discord, and that'll get you. That'll help you have a bunch of people to talk to that will actually get to your question quicker than an hour later on a live stream. I have a wild streak. I keep at 3,000 grit and hustle HSB. If I want a different shit, oh crap, it skipped. Error, try again. Oh, Bork. Oh, Bork. There we go. Just redrilled my old 2012 high road. Lost a lot of shape, and over time it still destroys the pins easily on the dryer sport shot. I now understand why it still sells. Yeah, the high road just kind of, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It does things it really shouldn't be able to do. So it revs up. It's a lot more in the mid lane than it feels like it should be. No, most of the time you think of cores like that are later, so it's gonna resist revving up. It's gonna get down the lane further. It's gonna kind of help you get through the drier first parts of the lane. But when the high road hits friction, it's ready to hook. So it's just one of those balls that doesn't quite fit what the literature says on paper, but have a wild streak. I keep a 3000 grit and a Hustle HSB. If I want a different shape, should I look at IQTMP or IQTS, and which one for 16 miles an hour, 200 RPM? I would probably check out the TNP, because it's going to be stronger than the TS and a little bit smoother. So probably would be better given your specs. Thanks once again, Brian. Again. Community is very helpful and patient. Yes, we have a very, very outstanding community in Discord, which I'm very happy with. Debating on getting in either a nuclear cell or Omega Crux. I mainly bowl in house patterns, view it, but I do bowl tournaments. Which ball do you think is more usable? That's tough because they're really, really different. It's really, really different. Nuclear cell and Omega Crux. The nuke is super strong and is going to turn sideways on the back end. Omega is also strong, but it's really, really smooth. So I think the Omega is ultimately more usable, but I think you have to have a heavier hand to get more out of it, or you have to play pretty straight. The nuclear cell gives you a lot more help with shape if you need that. But from what I've seen more of the nuclear cell than the Omega, and I think Maisel, heckin' chillax. Maisel, it's a box in the hallway, sweetie. It's okay. You go see. You go check it out. You stand here and bork. Anyhow, I've actually seen more nuclears than Omegas, so take that how you will. Have you ever bowled on the same pair as Wes Malott? No, but I have bowled on a pair next to Wes Malott and have stood next to him. And he is tall. Bowling synthetic lanes with flat pattern, 42 foot. The problem I have is his head seam dry. What do you recommend? That's kind of tough. Measle, chillax. If the heads are dry, you're probably going to want something that gets through the heads a little bit easier. But with it being a flat pattern, I'd almost say something like a Tour Nano Pearl, because nano stuff, that core controls the lane really well, and nano stuff does not burn energy on friction. It's going to be strong to start off with, but once you get some games on it, like I was talking earlier, once you get 30 to 40 games on it, it's going to tame it down, it's going to smooth it down, and so mine's been invaluable. So I would definitely recommend that one. I'm so excited for my Black Widow 2.0. I know it's a Hammer fan and a Storm channel. Currently, I think I'm going to have to revise this, but my favorite two balls of all time, the Taboo, the Hammer Taboos at the top, and the Motive Covert Revolt is number 2. The original Black Revolt. On the promotions, definitely 3 right now, if not have leapfrog, because I only had 1 Taboo and I only had 1 Revolt. So I think I'm going to have to just revise that and skip the promotion up to the top. But that gas mask core is just legit. I mean, it's just one of those things. You put it in a ball and it works. The vast majority of the time. Obviously, they're going to have some stankers. Every once in a while, some stuff is just not going to work out. But it would be like putting the proton or the physics core in something and have it not look amazing. It's just an outstanding core. So the fact of the matter is, you put that core in something, and the vast majority of the time, it's going to look amazing. So Black Rifle AK is great. Yes. It's mega nerd bowling stuff day in and day out. Yes, I could definitely that's why I don't post a whole lot, I think. Thanks once again for the shout out, Brian. And I post frequently enough. I actually I get quite a bit of feedback and ask quite a bit of questions for stuff that goes on with the channel. Like I've already posted my a potential thumbnail for the Rubicon UC2 video. I'm kind of going a different direction with the thumbnail. It's kind of a similar, but a little bit different. People now are liking the more personable live stuff. People are kind of over the computerized graphics and whatever else. So when you see people in thumbnails, they want to see less production and more familiarity, more kind of get to know you type stuff, or more interactive type stuff. And so my thumbnails have kind of been just you know, stock photo and then some fancy lettering and bright and shiny and whatever else. But people aren't necessarily drawn to that type of stuff anymore. They like seeing people, or they like seeing real photos, real stuff. And so I'm gonna do the same style of thumbnail that I have with the ball on the one side and then the letters and then the logos down the bottom. But I'm gonna take a picture of the actual ball, you know, on my workbench. And so I posted a couple potential thumbnails, and I talk about stuff that I'm going to do in the future. They find out some of the projects I'm working on, or some stuff they get early access to, or they get behind the scenes access to stuff, or whatever else. And you know, when you're in the Discord, you can, instead of waiting for a live stream or trying to find me on social media or something, you can just tag me in Patreon and I'll answer your question right there. So it's more of a direct access. And James is a lot more technical than I am, and so Mr. Bill knows way more than I think he lets on most of the time, because whenever he drops in with something, it's just like, oh my god, I didn't know that, didn't even think about that. So we've got a bunch, and we have a very eclectic group of people that are into a lot of different things. And so even if you need stuff beyond bowling, for some reason bowling attracts like these great minds. We have people from all kinds of walks of life, and we have some very, very intelligent, seasoned, experienced people in there that have just, their help has been ridiculous for just basic stuff like finding me computers to do this with, or help on other stuff. So yeah, it's just an amazing group of people. So, oh, flying in this year for it. Heck yeah. So yeah, we're going to get you on the greater KC tournaments, and maybe some other stuff too. There's some other, yeah, a huge portion of our community are Motive fans too. Like, I don't care what ball, and that's the funny, that's some of the biggest compliments I can get are from people that post in the comments of my videos, say I don't even throw Storm, don't even like Storm, but I like watching your videos. That's a compliment. And so we have a lot of people. Riley, Swift Cookies is a Motive staffer. We have people that throw other companies that enjoy throwing other stuff, and they still are in our community, because I just don't beat them over the head with Storm Roto stuff all the time. We like to talk bowling. It just so happens that, you know, Storm is who sponsors the stuff that I do, basically. I mean, I wouldn't have the review videos, wouldn't have the channel if it wasn't for Storm. So that's the direction that we lean, and that's all the stuff you're going to see on the channel. But in the Discord, we have all kinds of people that are in there that just want to talk bowling. So never to fear if you sign up for the Storm Nation Luke Rosedahl Patreon thing with Storm stuff all over the place. It's not just an extra place where I can beat you over the head with Storm promotion and whatever else and try to get you to buy the stuff. We talk bowling I try to just talk bowling on the channel. Again, just I feature Storm because they're the ones that send me the stuff. So, I mean, I obviously really like using the stuff, and I'm completely happy with where I'm at. So, but we talk bowling. So I can't wait for the reality bowling ball to come out from Global. That looks really, really good. The video for that, the reality looks pretty amazing. So, and that core is really cool. Yeah, it's kind of a rectangular block that just has one of the top edges shaved off. So it's very interesting visually too. Very intriguing. Long A and shaft. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Long A is so it looks like it should be. It looks like it should be Schaffer. But yeah, I could. It's Schaefer. I trip myself up on the English thing because most of the time I can pronounce stuff pretty close, and I would have naturally defaulted to Schaefer, but phonetically it's spelled Schaffer. So, but phonetically, my last name is Rosdahl, not Rosedahl. So it's pronounced Rosedahl, should be Rosdahl. And so when people call me Luke Rosdahl or Rossdale, phonetically, that's correct. So yeah. Luke needed a good ramble. That's why this stream is here. Pretty much. I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook. I haven't done a Q&A for a while. Most of what I've done here recently has been kind of topic driven, and I hadn't done something like this, and I thought, okay, well, you know, Angel's going to get around and go do some shopping, and there's some good after Christmas sales on stuff. She might go get some lights and some stuff for some Christmas bags and whatever else for next year to kind of refill our stock and go get some food and whatever else. And I'm just kind of hanging out here with my unicorn mug, and my brother got me this too, along with a shirt, along with a Green Ranger shirt. It just, I wanted to show up my Star Wars Imperial March. Dun, dun, dun. But anyhow, so I was just sitting around thinking, you know what? I've seen a bunch of people posting stuff on Facebook, like what they got for Christmas and whatever else. And so I thought, hey, well, just hanging out. This would be fun to hang out with some people and drink some coffee out of my unicorn mug. And just the puppers were laying around and thought everybody could just say, you know, if you got bowling balls for Christmas, we can talk about it. And I'm not really much in the way of layout suggestions, but just thought we could hang out. I'm sure and Christmas was on a great day. It was a Friday, and so now most people having a Christmas hangover, just hanging out, and I thought I'd just come hang out with people. Because that's what I do. Not really, though. I'm a crazy introvert, but the funny thing about that is being extroverted is a whole lot more fun. And I'm starting to get to the age where I used to really intensely care about what people thought of me, not so much because I was, well, yes, I was insecure, but because I don't care so much what other people think when it comes to a personal level. I care what people think when it comes to a professional level, as far as opportunities and not burning bridges and always leaving things open. Like sometimes people get too upset about things and too idealistic and can burn bridges and whatever else. I've worked myself into a very interesting position now that I've taken a lot of crap and I've kind of just kept my head down and whatever else. You know, if I actually need something, if I needed a job or I needed some help with something, or if I needed a favor from somebody, I've got such a wide variety of people to choose from. So even if you run into a bunch of people that would love to help you out but just can't, I have got such a collection of people that if I said, hey, I need something, because I've gone out of my way to help them, or because I've gone out of my way to, it's sometimes just being nice and talking to people. You know, sometimes it's just the simplest thing in the world is, you know, I've always, you know, hated the people that would, oh, I'm too good to talk to you, or I don't have the time for you, or whatever else. I've just never really been that type of person, and it puts people, it just together, and that's kind of the just people helping people and everybody kumbaya and all that jazz. So I have no idea what I was even talking about, so take that with a grain of salt. I've had coffee. Need to head out. Thanks for doing this. Merry Christmas all. Todd from Hawaii, maybe you'll see this later if you come back and watch again. Okay. Oh yeah, Motive Lou, I'm on Motive staff. I just like the content. Yeah, that's the thing too, is I appreciate good content from other people too. I'm actually going to buy a Packy of the Packy Hanrahan from the house. Actually has a new shirt, the Building the Wall shirt that I just find hilarious, and I'm going to buy that and support him, even though he's a Brunswick staffer. Because Packy's also one of those just legitimately good guys too. He's just a Kyle Troop, one of the other. They're just bowlers that happen to be exceptional at what they do, but they don't think that they're better than anybody else, or they won't go out. They might be too busy sometimes, and that's the thing that I find myself sometimes is I'll get comments or whatever else. I'm like, man, I'm just too busy to answer this right at the moment. I will try to get back to it, and then sometimes I don't get notifications, and I feel really bad about that. Coming back to something 2 or 3 months later, I'm like, crap, I never saw this notification. I don't want to be one of these people that they send you something and, oh, I'm too good to answer your questions, you plebeian. I don't want to be like that, but sometimes it's just too busy to either give you the attention at the time or give you the amount of attention that I would like to get from somebody else like that. But yeah, yeah, we're just about bowling. Yeah, Lou makes, if you're motive inclined, Lou makes great stuff on YouTube too. So go check him out if you want to know anything about motive balls, go his direction. NEX cover on a high road core, how do you think that'd be? There's a lot of people that have been talking about that. I think it could work out really good because the high road nano was pretty good. And I think the all road was pretty good too. And so I think that core would handle a bigger cover. I don't know if it would handle that big of a cover that well. It could be kind of over under, or it might be too much cover for the core. Sometimes you get out of balance without when like the Sonic, I think that core was just too much for that cover. And if you put that core in any other cover that's also strong, you're going to end up with a mega beast. So yeah, it could work out though. I think that could actually be pretty amazing. So. But NEX, nano covers are just great. I think, as we've seen, the high road nano was good. The all road was good. The IQ nano was good. So just anything that the nano cover's been on. The show off was, if you remember the show off from Roto Grip, that was nano based. So, all right. Oh, balls. It hopped again. It jumped again. Oh, heck. All right. Skipping. I'm very OCD, so if I get a promotion, I like the trend to match with it. The trend is really good. I was hoping for that because I knew that with spec, some people are going to be, it's going to be touch and go with the promotion, but I really like that core, and I thought, I hope that they put something just basic on it, like R2S Pearl, to show people how good this core is. And so when the trend came out, that's one of the few times that I actually hoped for R2S Pearl, is I wanted people to see how good the core was. And I think that they thought the same thing. It's like, well, this, yeah, it was, the promotion was kind of polarizing, but we have a great thing with this core, the motion it creates on the lane. And so we just have to go a little obvious to and kind of go to the well for this one, just to show people how good this core is. And I think that they succeeded at that. So just joined. Great, Derek. We'll be happy to have you. Love the mug. Yep. Thank my brother for that. Saw your video on bowling ball videos. Someone who wanted to do it. Thanks for your straightforwardness and honesty. Tough love. Yeah, come here, Mistles. Come here, babies. Come here to baby Mistles. Hi, baby. Come here. No, it's okay. I know. You're the Mistles. Yeah, and that's... It should be about... I mean, yes, you have to... When you represent a company, you have to promote the equipment. You have to... But there's a way to do that and a way to sell the product. I always said that you can sell the product and get people what they need or what they want at the same time. It doesn't have to be beating people over the head like a used car salesman just to get people, just to get the sale. I've never believed in that. I believe that you...
if the product's worth buying, you don't have
to do
that.
you want to gain customers, not sales. Or that the most important thing is gaining customers, not specifically sales. Because if you gain a customer, you're going to... It's like one of them teaching a person to fish or giving them a fish. So, yeah. All right. Since Storm signed with 900 Global, are we going to see you throw and review some 900 Global stuff? Like I said earlier, yeah. Can we focus here? Focus. Anybody else can say whatever they want. I actually read my contract,
and I've been following my contract despite all the other stuff you've seen on Facebook. For a bunch of people that signed contracts without even reading it. Storm has made no official announcement that direction. Now there are a lot of cats running free of their bags all over Facebook. So I'm not going to say anything. Anybody else can say anything in the chat, or you can just go find any of the other Storm staffers on Facebook that didn't read their contracts.
We're still operating under 2020.
Yep, we're still on 2020, so I'm the Storm and Rotor Grip guy. Covert Revolt is OG daddy. Yeah, the Covert Revolt. Man, I think I'm catching up. I was only talking about that like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, you're doing okay.
The OG Covert. Yeah, I'm doing good for me.
Well, you're keeping it to like 2 to 3 minutes per question, so that's better.
Yeah, the Covert Revolt was special. You were talking about ones that they need to bring back. The Covert Revolt needs to come back for motive and just stay there. It was amazing. Amazing. Like a big IQ Tour solid.
Did everybody know it was really that amazing while it was out, or did they figure it out afterwards?
I think they figured it out afterwards, unfortunately, because it still should be there.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm thinking Phase 2 versus Axiom versus IQ Tour Edition. Which ball is control, easy, and for good pin action? Those are all... That's tough to talk about because that's all very big, heavy use stuff for the tour players. So that's hard to differentiate, but it just comes down to shape and hook potential. The Axiom is going to be the strongest and actually the sharpest out of all of them. Phase 2 is going to be kind of in the middle and quite smooth. The IQ Tour Edition is just kind of the bread and butter. So that's tough because all of those are popular. The Axiom is going to be around for a while. The Phase 2 has been around forever, and the IQ Tour has been around longer. So that's hard to. Luke, there's 2 new MVPs on Facebook for 110 each. Give me every reason to not. Oh, sorry, not buy both. Yeah, the MVP was one of those that just was absolutely crazy. But I'm kind of wishing I had. Oh, Measle, you pulled the coverage down, Measles.
You were ready for that, were you?
Yeah, go clean your room, fruit. I need to buy a new Phase 2. Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that, yeah, I mean, if you like something, it's not the exciting choice to just go replace it. But if you've had it for a while and you need to replace it and it's still being made, just go get it. Should we start a ball arsenal chat in Discord?
That's kind of what Discord is.
Yeah, it's kind of what Discord is. So if you get it, the Panda Pack, the main one and if you sign up for Patreon, the way to get into the private channels is you go into Patreon settings and link your Discord and Patreon channels. If you have any problems with that, just let me know and we'll get that worked out. But that'll let you into the private channels, and then Panda Pack, Panda Pack is kind of the main channel, but that's ball discussion 24/7 pretty much. So that's kind of what that is. The rest of the channels are for other stuff, but the main channel is kind of what that is. So oh crap, it skipped again. Go drink some whiskey. Oh man, go drink some whiskey, Brian. I got some good whiskey for Christmas. I'm a fan of Scotch. I've actually got a bottle of Lefroy staring at me right here. But I really like Johnny Walker Black Label, because Johnny Walker Black Label is to Scotch what Jack Daniels is to whiskey. It's just your typical solid. If you just want some good solid stuff, whiskey drinkers will go for Jack Daniels, and Scotch drinkers will go for Johnny Walker Black Label. It's just good, stout, predictable, consistent stuff. If you want something more nuanced to kind of sit and enjoy or whatever else, you go for something like Lefroy, which is very peaty. But
My wife got me the Johnny Walker sampler pack, so I got a smaller bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label, a bottle of Gold Reserve, a bottle of 18-year, and then a bottle of Blue Label, which a regular bottle of Blue Label goes for about $200 to $250 depending on where you buy it. So she got me this nice sampler pack, and so I'm going to enjoy the Blue Label, among other things. So, very big fan of Scotch and rye whiskeys. Really, something else. Woodford Reserve is bourbon. Bourbon's a little smooth for me. I like the so like I've told people about the Scotches. I like the, you know, if it tastes like you're drinking whiskey while munching on a stick and smoking a cigar, then I will probably like it. So bourbon's a little smooth for me, and especially stuff like Crown. Like, people like Crown because it's smooth. Crown's a little bland for me. It's just not. I like something that's more assertive, that's got more flavor to it, I guess. That's why I like stronger black coffee, because I just like strong, assertive flavors. But Woodford Reserve is really good, and then Larceny for just some basic, you know, bourbon or whiskey or whatever the hell Larceny is. It's really good stuff. It's very strong, and it's anyway, back to talking bowling balls. And I'll probably get off here before too long. I'll catch up with the stuff. I actually still have some stuff to show off. So, all right. Synergy versus P3. I do have that on the... Now, this is interesting because they're both bigger hybrids, but the P3 has a much stronger cover stock on it. The Synergy gets down the lane a whole lot easier, and I actually compared the two in my Synergy review. And I also have rated videos for both of them if you want to see both of them side by side. Man, I kind of look like... Here we go. I kind of look like Dougie right now, but just with Power Rangers. And super pale and ginger. Where are you at, Dougie? Holy crap, did I catch up? Holy heckers, I caught up, I think. Or unless this thing skipped again. I think it skipped again. Good drink. No, I caught up. Holy heckers. Well, would you look at that? Ooh, everyone name one ball that you would all buy now that is discontinued. I would probably buy back the original Crux. Or bring back, that you would bring back now, or that you would buy now. Ooh, that's good. Probably an IQ Tour Nano. I mean, that'd be the easy one to go for, is the IQ Tour Nano. That ball was amazing. Angel actually has a Sword Nano, which is a pink and black version of the IQ Tour Nano, because the Sword line has the core, the centripetal C3 control core, but it's just called it's the Sword line overseas, and it's got the same energy solid. So it's a IQ Tour Nano, but it's pink and black, and it smells like a High Road tea, which smells like sweet tarts. So it's amazing. Synergy versus P3, yeah, that I've got plenty of video for that, but the Synergy is a whole lot cleaner and a whole lot sharper. Also, a handful of boards weaker than the Phase 3. So yeah, Axiom Pearl. And the Axiom Pearl, even though my first one didn't really work out for me, I think there was something odd or up with it. But I'm getting another one because it's just too good to not have or to not play with. And it looks great. It smells great. The Axiom Pearl feels like an overseas ball, just in the overall design and what it looks like, and because that's all that really matters. What happens at the pins, I could care less for, but what it looks like and what it smells like is really the most important thing. And so I'm definitely getting another one because there was something off with my first one. But that's what I've been talking about shiny Pearl Nano forever now. So now people are getting to find out about what I've been rambling about for like 4 or 5 years now. It doesn't burn energy on friction. It controls the lane well. It controls the back ends well. It's got enough pop without being like over under. But the cover formula is strong enough to where it still gets a little bit more traction through the oil. So shiny nano stuff just acts different. It just acts different, and you won't know until you get once you get an Axiom Pearl or something like that, or let a IQ Tornado Pearl shine up or something. Everybody is going to go buy one of these mugs. Everybody's going to go get a unicorn mug now. Was considering Axiom solid, hoping they go on clearance after Christmas. No, it hasn't been out long enough. It hasn't been out. It's been out since like April or something. So, and it's going to be popular for a while. The Axiom's not going to go anywhere for a while. All right, can you talk about vice tape, not the thumb stuff like middle ring finger tape? I feel like white, blue, yellow, and silver. No, I can't talk about vice tape because I'm actually a turbo staffer. So I would talk about turbo tape. I don't really do the vice stuff. Angel does the, but you're saying not the thumb stuff, but like middle ring finger tape, which kind of be like the bowler's tape, the silver stuff. I feel like my fingers and the ball is what gives me that true shot. I don't actually use the finger tape. There's a lot of other people that do use the finger tape, and they like it quite a bit. I think it would probably be very helpful if you get blisters or stuff like that. I think it's softer too, to where you don't, because when I tape, I feel like I lose feel, but I don't think that you would lose feel with the finger tapes. Shim might actually, Dougie, but teal and about 50,000% more white. Yeah, definitely. I'm not even white. I'm fluorescent. I mean, because I just see most of the time why I don't have lights on it, because I create my own light. I mean, it's super hard to get the lighting right for these streams, and why I try not to get too close to the camera, because I just screw off all the contrast and the color and whatever else. Ball, I'd bring back code black. Okay, I've reached the end of the comments, so I'm going to show off some of my stuff. You've seen a bunch. You've seen this. Get that one back out in case people are here that weren't here earlier, that didn't see it earlier. So yeah, this is what I got my wife. Trend SE. Oh man, this is blueberry. So this is the Axiom Pearl cover on the Trend core, which is the piston core.
Promotion core 2.
Yeah, Promotion core 2. But, and it's very, very pretty.
The blue is fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of got like the gray or the silver from, it's almost like timeless silver with Trend kind of, but no, that's not Trend blue. This is kind of like a deeper, more metallic. Oh man, it screwed up the, I must get the focus back. Come on, camera. Yes, we're still going, Curtis. You left and now you're back.
Unicorn power.
Mm-hmm. Unicorn power. This camera. I don't know about this camera.
You just shouldn't stick things into space.
Yeah, I just shouldn't do anything on this camera.
No, it's not the camera.
It's definitely the camera.
No, it's not the camera.
Why would it not be the camera? When it can't maintain focus at all ever, and when it gets out of focus, it can't. It just can't.
Operator.
There we go. You just have to never move. Never do anything. Anyway, Trend SE. Axiom Pearl cover. Piston core. Smells like blueberries. All right. So that's the other. You've seen the, got this Star Wars shirt, the Imperial March. My stepson. Done. Dun, 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 dun. I got a blanket that says I love you more than biscuits and gravy. But I'm not going to put it up there because it freaks the camera out. I did get Johnny Walker sampler pack with some Johnny Walker Blue in there that I'm going to be enjoying at some point. I also got a Millennium Falcon phone charger, and the lights light up when you put the phone on it. Also, oh no, it has to be plugged in. There's no charging for it. But the other mode, the lights stay on. There's a mode button down here. So, phone charger. Uh-oh, I'm leaning close. It's probably going to screw up.
Just lean back.
I got a Princess Luke keychain because that's what I am.
It's a personal honest.
Yep. And I got a Budweiser Christmas Stein. Very cool. We'll probably never drink beer out of it, but it's very cool to have, to put up and show.
What else do you want to bring?
I think that's the majority of it that gets the point across.
Things that we have to do.
Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty good Christmas. I also got some candles. I really love candles.
Soy candles to be specific.
Yeah, soy candles.
They have to be soy.
They have to be soy if you have animals in the house. Fun fact. If you have animals in the house, get soy candles.
With a cotton wick.
Yeah, with a cotton wick. So it gets even more and more specific. Maestles, come here, sweeties. I know, you got to come up with the peoples. Come here, doggy. I know. You're the best, Maestel. Come here, doggy. You high fives? I know. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So I'm hungry again because it's been forever since I ate before the stream here. So I've caught up to the questions. We've spent a while just hanging out. This was fun. I appreciate the questions. Thanks a ton for all the donations, by the way. Thanks for, I think we got a few new Discord people, maybe some new Patreon people. I don't know yet, but pretty sure we got some new people.
Yeah, I think there was like 5 or 6.
Yeah. So this will be fun. Even if you just post even if you're just in the free server, which is completely fine. Storm Nation on Discord, it'll be fun. Or if you sign up for the Patreon thing too. Once again, it only charges once a month. So if you just want to pledge something and get a free preview and check it out and see what's in the private section or the members only channels on our Discord server, you can do that. If it's not your thing, just cancel before the 1st. So I think I'm going to go on ahead and sign out. Thanks everybody for showing up, hanging out. Now we do have, James is going to be in town Thursday. James is flying in Thursday.
Is he still in there to post the?
Yeah, he's back now. Kind of.
Well, just making sure that the Discord got posted one more time before you signed out. Okay. So
but anyway, so James is going to be in town on Thursday. We have 3 tournaments on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd, and we're going to be live streaming from the den at Aaron's like we did for the big mega stream back in September. We're going to be back in the den there with James on the 1st, which is a Friday at 7 p.m. So we're going to have another bigger stream. We're going to have some extra people there, hopefully a couple special guests, whoever we can talk into it. So that will be a good time. And have some other stuff. And then Rubicon UC2 review will be the 8th.
Well,
assuming I get it done.
I think that Frank still has the torch.
Yeah, he's got the torch, and we're going to take the board boxes. Drilling stream on the 31st, too. We're going to surprise James, Mr. Amateur Detective. We're going to surprise him. We might have to just mix it up now. He thinks he's so smart.
He said if it's a parallax and he's just flying home, so I told him I was going to put one of the Crumbs primes in there because it smells like a parallax, so he gets spec and parallax all in one.
Yeah. So yeah, something he doesn't have in his bag right now, and just to kind of drill something for what we're going to be bowling on over the weekend, and just trying something a little bit different. So anyhow. Thanks, everybody, for coming and hanging out. It was a ton of fun. I've exhausted 2 cups of coffee in my fancy unicorn mug that my brother got me.
Got to see Missile. Got to see you now.
I'm hungry again. So we got to see puppies, except for that one. That one's weird. Yeah, stumbled on. Yeah, I just gotta. Yeah, stumbled on the stream, and man, you sure can ramble. Yep. Anybody that grew up with me or that knew me before age 30, I mean just 38 even, had no idea I could talk this much. No clue.
Except me.
Yeah, except because she got it all, because I wouldn't talk to anybody else. So anyhow, thanks everybody for showing up. I'm going to finish watching Jurassic World, I'm pretty sure, and get something to eat because I'm hungry, and now I'm a little jazzed up. I'm a little crazy.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, thanks everybody for putting up with the camera again, and for putting up with me, my version of the Dougie Vision hat thing. Thanks everybody. We'll see you later. Hope you had a good Christmas, and we'll see you in a few days actually. So thanks everybody, and thanks for the donations. Appreciate it. We'll see you on Discord and on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else. I'm terrible with saying goodbye, so goodbye.